I'm Daniel, 38M. My wife, Marissa, 36F, and I have been married for 12 years. We've got 2 kids, our daughter is 10 and already rolling her eyes like a teenager, and our son is 7, obsessed with dinosaurs to the point where I've stepped on more plastic T-Rexes than I can count. Then there's Max, our golden retriever. He's the kind of dog who doesn't bark much but has perfected judgmental silence. If you eat one too many cookies, Max will look at you like you're personally responsible for global warming. To everyone else, we looked like the picture-perfect suburban family. We had the nice 2-story house, the manicured lawn, thanks to my color-coded schedule for mowing, and the whole routine, school drop-offs, soccer practice, Marissa's yoga classes, my endless spreadsheets at work. Sundays were sacred, pancakes, cartoons with the kids, and usually a barbecue in the evening. Friends would say things like, "You two are couple goals." And I'd nod, thinking, yeah, maybe we are. But here's the thing about perfect. It's usually just a paint job covering cracks in the wall. And those cracks don't stay hidden forever. Marissa started getting busier with yoga. At first, I thought it was great, she loved teaching, and it gave her purpose. But then the schedule shifted. Suddenly, she had late Wednesday night, private sessions. Or Saturday mornings, she'd dash out before breakfast because a new student was desperate for a one-on-one. She'd come home flushed, sweaty, hair a little messy, and yeah, I know yoga is physical, but there was a glow about her that didn't feel like just stretching and breathing exercises. The red flags were there, but I waved them off. Because who wants to admit their marriage might not be what they thought? I even tried joking about it. One night, she was putting her yoga mat in the trunk, and I asked, "How many downward dogs can one person do in a week?" She gave this laugh, too loud, too fake, and then immediately changed the subject. To broccoli. As in, oh, did you see the price of broccoli at the store? I swear to God, I've never seen anyone pivot to cruciferous vegetables that fast. That moment stuck with me. Because it wasn't just the laugh. It was the avoidance. Like I had poked a hole in her script and she had to scramble for a new line. I didn't push it. I told myself I was overthinking. We had kids, bills, years of history, I wanted to believe she was still my partner. But then Max, my furry, judgmental little narc, started acting strange. You know how dogs know stuff before you do. Earthquakes, storms, the UPS guy with snacks in his pocket. Well, Max knew something about Marissa that I didn't. And it was Max who basically blew the whistle on her extra yoga. That's when my perfect marriage started to unravel faster than Amazon Prime shipping. So let me set the scene. It's a Thursday evening. Normally, I'd be stuck at work, but by some miracle, or curse, depending on how you look at it, a client canceled last minute and I got to leave early. I pull into the driveway, and immediately, something feels off. Max is sitting by the front door, tail wagging like crazy. Now, Max only does that when someone new is in the house. If it's just me, he barely blinks. If it's the kids, he might lift his head. But a stranger? Max turns into the world's happiest Walmart greeter. I unlock the door and hear laughter. Not the kids, they were at a friend's house for a sleepover. Not the TV either, because I could tell it was her laugh. And then a male voice. My stomach dropped. I walk into the kitchen, and there she is, Marissa, my wife, yoga goddess, perfect suburban mom, leaning against the counter with a glass of wine. And next to her, laughing like he's at a comedy show, is the UPS delivery guy. Yeah. The same dude who drops off our packages, the one who knows exactly how many times I've ordered printer ink and protein powder in the last year. And here he is, sipping wine with my wife like this was some kind of Amazon Prime bonus feature, free next day shipping and complimentary adultery. I froze. They froze. Max wagged harder, probably thrilled his favorite guest had arrived. Babe, this isn't what it looks like, Marissa blurts out immediately, voice high and fake sweet. The guy looks like he just walked into the wrong house and is considering melting into the floor. I just stared at her. Really? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like Prime shipping now includes a wine tasting package. She laughed nervously, that same too loud laugh I'd heard before, and started rambling. Oh, Daniel, don't be ridiculous. He was just dropping off a package and I offered him a drink. It's polite. You're so paranoid lately. Maybe you should relax, take a yoga class or something. Gaslighting 101. My blood was boiling, but I didn't want to explode in front of this guy. So I just said, right. Because nothing says customer service like drinking Merlot in my kitchen while my kids are at a sleepover. Her face hardened. She went from fake laughing to bitchy real fast. Why are you making this into a big deal? God, you're always so uptight. Do you know how embarrassing you are right now? Yeah. She flipped it. I was the embarrassing one. I didn't scream. I didn't punch walls. I just walked out, grabbed Max's leash, and took him for a walk. Needed to breathe, needed to think. Max, traitor that he is, kept glancing back toward the house like he wanted to return to his new drinking buddy. But the image of them laughing, glasses clinking in my kitchen, the nerve of it, was burned into my brain. And deep down, I knew this wasn't just a one-time oops. This was something deeper, something that had been going on behind my back for a while. And I was about to find proof. So after that little wine and UPS yoga class, I couldn't just sit back and pretend everything was fine. I spent the whole walk with Max running through what I'd just seen. My wife, glass of wine in hand, acting like this guy was her new co-instructor. And the way she snapped at me for being embarrassing. Yeah, no. That sat like a brick in my chest. I went back inside an hour later. UPS Romeo was gone, and Marissa was wiping down the counters like she was auditioning for a cleaning product commercial. Too cheerful, too fake. Where's your package? I asked, leaning on the doorway. She blinked. What? You said he was here dropping off a package. Where is it? Her face froze for a split second. Then, classic Marissa, she rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Daniel. He left it on the porch. Do you want me to show you the box like it's Exhibit A in some ridiculous trial? Yes, I said flatly. She stomped to the porch, made a big show of grabbing a box, and plopped it down on the counter. I checked the label. It was addressed to our neighbor. Not even our house. Wow, I said. So he was delivering packages to the wrong address and somehow ended up with wine in our kitchen. That's a hell of a detour. Marissa's eyes flashed. That sharp, defensive glare she gets when she's caught. You are so paranoid. You've been stressed from work, and now you're inventing stories about me. Do you know how insane you sound right now? I wanted to laugh. Insane? No, what's insane is pouring Pinot Noir for the delivery guy while your husband thinks you're teaching sun salutations. I told her point blank, I don't buy it, Marissa. You've been taking extra classes at weird hours, avoiding questions, and now I catch you here with him. If there's something going on, I want the truth. And instead of confessing, instead of even pretending to be sorry, she smirked. Actually smirked. You're jealous of the UPS guy? That's pathetic, Daniel. It was like a slap in the face. She didn't just lie, she turned it into a joke at my expense. I walked away again, but inside, I was on fire. If she thought I'd let it drop, she was wrong. Because once you see the mask slip, you can't unsee it. And I was about to start pulling every thread of her lies until the whole damn thing unraveled. After that confrontation, things in the house felt off. The air was heavy, like every word was a landmine. Marissa acted like nothing happened, humming while making smoothies, chatting on the phone in the other room, rolling out her yoga mat with exaggerated peace. But once you've seen through someone's act, you can't unsee it. So I started paying attention. First red flag. Her phone. Marissa used to leave it on the counter, plugged in, no problem. Now it was glued to her hand like it was surgically attached. She'd take it to the bathroom, to the laundry room, even to the backyard just to check emails. And if it buzzed when I was nearby, she'd lunge for it like Max lunges for bacon. Second red flag. The scheduled gymnastics. She claimed she picked up new yoga clients, but when I checked the studio's website, her name wasn't even listed for half the time she said she was teaching. I asked about it casually, and she snapped, "Oh, so now you're stalking me? God, Daniel, you're suffocating." But the real gut punch came from our daughter. One night, she was doing homework at the kitchen table, and she handed me a crayon drawing for her school project, My Family. Cute stick figures of me, her brother, Marissa, and then another man. I asked, "Sweetheart, who's this?" She said, in the most innocent voice ever, "That's the man who brings mommy boxes. He's funny. He was here when we had pizza night." Pizza night. The same night Marissa swore she was stuck covering a late class. I felt my stomach turn. Kids don't invent details like that. Later that week, I got an email from her teacher. Polite, concerned. Apparently, our daughter had shared during class that mommy has 2 boyfriends, daddy and the box man. The teacher was just checking in to see if everything was okay at home. I can't even describe the mix of humiliation and fury I felt reading that. My marriage was unraveling, and now it was bleeding into my kids' school life. When I confronted Marissa about it, she didn't apologize. She didn't explain. She laughed. Kids make stuff up all the time. Are you really taking a crayon drawing as evidence? God, Daniel, you're pathetic. Pathetic. That word hit harder than anything. I didn't shout. I didn't throw things. I just looked at her and said, "If there's nothing going on, then give me your phone." She clutched it to her chest like it was a newborn. Absolutely not. You don't get to control me. This is my privacy. That told me everything I needed to know. But I wasn't done. If she thought gaslighting me would work, she had no idea who she was dealing with. The accountant in me was about to start a full-scale investigation. Okay, so here's the thing about being an accountant: I might not be flashy, but I notice patterns. Numbers don't lie, receipts don't lie, and bank statements definitely don't lie. And since Marissa wasn't giving me her phone, I decided to go where she couldn't gaslight me: cold, hard data. First stop, our joint bank account. Scrolling through charges, most looked normal: groceries, gas, Target runs. But then I noticed a cluster of charges that didn't fit. A wine bar downtown we'd never been to. A boutique hotel with wellness spa in the name, charged twice in the same month. And Uber rides that started near our house and ended nowhere near her yoga studio. When I asked her about it, she didn't even blink. Oh, those? I was out with the girls. Self-care, Daniel. You wouldn't understand, you're too busy with your spreadsheets. Self-care at a hotel? I asked. Yes. They have yoga retreats there. God, you're so controlling. The speed at which she turned it into an attack was Olympic level. But my gut told me there was more. Then came the smoking gun. One afternoon, while she was teaching, a receipt printed from our wireless plan came in the mail, detailed call and text logs. My name, the kids' iPads, her phone. And then a number that showed up hundreds of times. Morning, noon, midnight. Long calls. Quick texts. It wasn't saved as a contact, but I knew right away. I dialed it. And guess who picked up? UPS Romeo. He answered with a casual, "Hey, babe." I didn't say a word. Just hung up, hands shaking. My heart felt like it was pounding out of my chest. That night, I confronted her again. I didn't tell her how I knew, I just asked point blank, "Are you sleeping with the UPS guy?" She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. "You're insane. He's just a friend. We talk. You're paranoid because you're boring. Do you want me to live like a nun just to make you feel secure?" That was it. The lies, the dismissiveness, the smugness. She was practically daring me to call her bluff. And for the first time, instead of backing down, I decided I'd get undeniable proof. Because once you catch someone in one lie, the rest of them are just waiting to be uncovered. And I was ready to burn through every last one. At this point, I wasn't guessing anymore. I had receipts, call logs, my kids' drawing, and the mental image of wine glasses clinking in my kitchen burned into my skull. But Marissa still acted like I was the crazy one. That's the thing about liars, they'd rather set themselves on fire than admit they're standing in gasoline. So I decided I needed something undeniable. Not just for me, but because I knew if this went to divorce, custody, whatever, proof would matter. That Saturday, she claimed she was covering an early morning private session. I pretended to sleep in. As soon as she left, yoga mat tucked under her arm like the world's worst prop, I followed. Kept my distance. She didn't drive toward the studio. She drove across town to that so-called wellness spa hotel. I parked a few spaces away, heart pounding like I was the one cheating. Max was with me in the back seat, judging me with those golden retriever eyes like, "Finally, you're catching on." I waited. 10 minutes later, guess who pulls into the lot? Yep. UPS Romeo, out of uniform, looking way too casual for a delivery. He walked straight up to her car, leaned in, kissed her like they were starring in some cheesy rom-com, and then they strolled into the hotel hand in hand. My stomach flipped. There it was. The proof. No broccoli excuses, no yoga cover story, no gaslighting my brain into knots. Just raw betrayal, walking through sliding glass doors like it was the most normal thing in the world. I didn't storm in. I didn't scream. Instead, I snapped pictures. Cold, clinical, time-stamped proof. My hands were shaking so bad the photos came out blurry, but you could still see them clear as day, my wife, her delivery guy, their hands intertwined. That night, when she came home all exhausted from yoga, I laid the photos on the table. She froze. For one split second, I saw it, the mask slipping, panic flickering across her face. But then, just like that, the bitchiness returned. "You followed me? Wow. That's disgusting, Daniel. You're a stalker." "A stalker?" I said. "That's your takeaway? Not the fact that you're cheating on your husband in broad daylight?" She sneered. "Oh, grow up. It's just fun. You're so boring, Daniel. Do you know how dead this marriage has been? At least he makes me feel alive." Alive. That word burned. And in that moment, something inside me broke. Because as much as I wanted to scream, cry, or beg, I realized she wasn't going to stop lying. Not today, not ever. This wasn't a crack in the marriage anymore. It was rubble. And I had to decide whether I was going to keep standing in it, or finally walk away. After that showdown with the photos, everything in the house shifted. It was like a bomb had gone off, and we were both standing in the wreckage pretending it was just messy decor. Marissa doubled down on her act. She acted like I was the problem, like me catching her with her UPS boyfriend was somehow worse than her cheating in the first place. "You're paranoid, you're controlling, you're pathetic," those were her new mantras. She'd throw them out like she was reading affirmations in yoga class, except instead of, "I am strong," it was, "Daniel is weak." Meanwhile, I felt like my chest was being crushed every time I looked at her. You think you'll explode in rage when you catch someone cheating, but for me it was quieter. More like a slow bleed. I'd sit at the dinner table, watching her laugh with the kids, and wonder, how much of this has been fake? How long have I been the punchline to her secret joke? I finally broke down and told my best friend, Mark. We were in his garage, drinking beers, surrounded by the smell of motor oil and old lawn equipment. I showed him the photos. He whistled low, shook his head, and said, "Dude, she's not even trying to hide it. That's brutal." I laughed, but it was hollow. At least she didn't run off with the milkman. Amazon just delivers faster. He tried to joke back, but then he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Daniel, you don't deserve this. You've been holding this family together. She's tearing it apart." Hearing it out loud from someone else hit different. It wasn't just in my head. I wasn't crazy. But then came the hardest part, the kids. They started asking questions. Why was mommy sleeping in the guest room some nights? Why was daddy so quiet at dinner? Why did mommy get mad when they mentioned the box man? I didn't have answers. Not yet. And the weight of that crushed me more than Marissa's smirk ever could. For the first time in 12 years, I realized, my marriage wasn't just in trouble, it was dead. And the only thing left was deciding how I was going to bury it. After the blow-up, I went into autopilot. Work. Kids. Sleep. Repeat. My brain was running 2 tracks at once. One was the practical accountant side tallying up options, therapy, separation, divorce, and the other was just a heartbroken guy wondering how the hell his wife of 12 years could blow it all up for a guy in brown shorts. Part of me thought maybe we should try counseling, at least for the kids' sake. I suggested it one night after the kids went to bed. I kept my voice calm, measured, like I was negotiating a contract. Maybe we should see a therapist. Figure out if there's anything left to salvage. She laughed in my face. "Oh my God, Daniel. You think a therapist is going to make me forget that you're boring? That you never listen? That you spend more time with Excel than with me?" I clenched my jaw so hard I thought I'd crack a tooth. But before I could fire back, she leaned in, softened her voice, and did the whiplash routine. "Look, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I just needed excitement. But if you'd been more attentive, maybe I wouldn't have looked elsewhere." Classic. One second she's spitting venom, the next she's dangling fake remorse like a fishing hook. And like an idiot, part of me wanted to bite, because who wants to admit their marriage is truly dead? But then I remembered the hotel photos. The call logs. Our daughter's drawing. All the gaslighting. And I realized therapy wouldn't be 2 people working on a marriage, it'd be me patching holes while she kept drilling new ones. I told her flat out, "I don't think this marriage can be fixed. Not when you don't even admit it's broken." Her eyes narrowed. The sweet act vanished. "Fine. You want out. Don't expect me to make it easy." And just like that, the battle lines were drawn. I wasn't just fighting for my dignity anymore. I was about to fight for my kids, my sanity, and, believe it or not, even Max, who had become my silent, judgmental therapist through this whole mess. The decision was made. I wasn't going to save a marriage she set on fire. I was going to walk away, before she burned me down with it. Once the decision was made, I called a lawyer. Sitting in that office felt surreal, like I'd stepped out of my own life and into someone else's divorce story. The lawyer was calm, clinical, asked all the standard questions: assets, custody, proof of infidelity. I slid the photos across the desk, the call logs, even the email from the teacher. He nodded slowly, like he'd seen this 100 times before. "You've got enough here to protect yourself," he said. For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of control. But when Marissa found out, she lost it. She stormed into the living room, waving the divorce papers like a flag. "You're really doing this? After everything I've given up for this family? You're going to paint me as the bad guy because I wanted a little fun?" I stared at her. You blew up our marriage, Marissa. Not me. Her face twisted. Oh, please. You were never really present. You think I cheated because of him? No. I cheated because of you. Because you're boring. Because you made me feel invisible. And there it was, the final knife twist. Not even a shred of remorse. Just blame shifting, as if I had ordered her into a hotel with Mr. Prime shipping. Then came the custody threats. She crossed her arms, smug smile plastered on. You'll never get full custody. The kids need me. Judges don't take kids from mothers. And Max? He's mine too. Good luck proving otherwise. I almost laughed. Max is the only one who told me the truth. He's staying with me. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd sprain them. You're pathetic. Fighting over a dog. But it wasn't just a dog. Max was the one who exposed her lies, the one who stuck by me when my world crumbled. Losing her? Fine. Losing Max? Not a chance in hell. That night, after the kids went to bed, I sat on the couch with Max's head in my lap, and for the first time, I let myself cry. Not just for me, but for the life I thought I had, for the kids who'd have to grow up in 2 houses, for the trust that could never be rebuilt. The aftermath wasn't loud. It was quiet. Heavy. Like standing in an empty house after the movers leave, echoes bouncing off bare walls. But under the sadness, a strange calm was settling in. Because at least now, I wasn't living in lies anymore. And I was ready to fight for the truth. The weeks that followed were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and tense exchanges in the driveway during kid handoffs. Marissa flipped between 2 personas, the tearful, wronged wife who played the victim in front of mutual friends, and the sharp-tongued, unapologetic liar who whispered poison when no one else was around. She tried every trick in the book, claimed I was controlling, accused me of spying, even hinted that I was emotionally neglectful. But when the evidence came out, photos, call logs, receipts, even the teacher's email, it was like watching a bad actor get caught reading from the wrong script. Judges don't like liars. And Marissa? She was lying on autopilot. The custody battle was brutal. She demanded full custody, swore the kids needed her more. But the court saw through her. In the end, I got primary custody. She got visitation. And yes, Max stayed with me. The judge even chuckled when I insisted, he's the only one who told me the truth. The divorce papers were signed on a rainy Tuesday. 12 years of marriage reduced to a stack of documents and 2 signatures. I walked out of the courthouse with a mix of grief and relief, like finally pulling out a splinter that had been festering for months. The kids adjusted better than I expected. Kids are resilient. They had questions, sure, but I made one promise, no matter what, they'd always know the truth. Not the gaslit version Marissa tried to sell, but the real one. As for me, I started rediscovering myself. I picked up running, spent more time with the kids, even let Max drag me to the park every morning. For the first time in years, I felt free. Marissa, from what I hear, is still chasing excitement. UPS Romeo didn't last long. Apparently, Prime doesn't deliver on loyalty. And me? I sleep better now. The bed feels bigger, quieter, but peaceful. Because I learned the hard way, sometimes betrayal doesn't end with drama. Sometimes it ends with silence, a dog at your side, and the knowledge that you walked through hell and came out the other side standing. So here I am, months later, officially divorced, single dad of 2, and full-time golden retriever wrangler. If you told me a year ago this would be my life, I'd have laughed and gone back to balancing spreadsheets. But life doesn't ask for permission before it wrecks your plans. Looking back, I see the signs I ignored. The late yoga classes, the sudden obsession with her phone, the forced laughter when I joked about it. I wanted to believe in the image of our perfect family, so I closed my eyes when the cracks started showing. If Max hadn't basically tattled with his tail wags and our daughter hadn't drawn that infamous crayon portrait, who knows how long I would have stayed blind. The hardest part wasn't the cheating itself, it was the lying, the gaslighting, the way she tried to make me feel crazy for noticing the truth. That cuts deeper than any affair. Because once trust is gone, love doesn't stand a chance. But here's what I've learned, betrayal doesn't have to define you. It hurts, it rips you apart, it leaves you questioning everything, but it doesn't end you. I came out stronger, clearer, and more protective of my kids than ever before. If anyone out there reading this is in the same boat, seeing signs, feeling the gut punch of suspicion, listen to yourself. Don't let someone convince you that your instincts are paranoia. Don't wait for a UPS guy with wine glasses in your kitchen to confirm what you already know. And don't be afraid to walk away. It's terrifying, yes. It feels like freefall. But the ground does come, and you do land on your feet. As for me, I'm moving forward. The kids and I have our own routines now, soccer games, pancake Sundays, even movie nights where Max inevitably steals popcorn. We laugh. We heal. We live. Marissa. She's someone else's problem now. And if you take nothing else from this story, take this: if your dog looks at you like he knows something, trust him. He's probably right.